Hello, everyone. MTL Sports here. One episode 104. Now today, we got some basketball. We're gonna start bringing in some football, and then we might cover some other things. Football. I think college football is in what 40 days from now, week zero. Team USA, the Olympics start. I think a week from Friday. So, we still got us. We still got some topics to cover in this very dry summer of sports, but. We'll give you guys some great content. But regardless, everyone, stay tuned. Hi everyone, we're back. Before we get into Team USA and their two dubs over the past couple days, let's get into some NBA news. Now, by now, all of you guys have heard of the Jalen Brunson new contract extension. This man left $116 million on the table. Unprecedented deal. I don't think a player of his caliber has ever left not 10 million, not 20 million, not even 30 million, but 116 million, bro. Unbelievable. And today it's coming out that Mikal Bridges is likely to do a similar type deal where he's going to leave pretty extraordinary amount of money on the table to help the Knicks kind of stay out the second apron, I believe. But whatever the case is, Lawrence, how do you feel about this? Does this even like if they don't win, this is a pretty bad move, right? Like, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, it's a completely bad move if they don't win. However, they know that if they make this move, they're going to win because they're going to have plenty of cap space to pretty much buy other stars to have almost a monopoly in the league of just stars.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense if you know, if they looking to kind of sign that third, maybe fourth star. They got well, Julius Randle only has one more year left, so if
Well, I
they
mean,
don't,
if you look at the team, if they sign another star, then they're completely built with depth. They'll have depth beyond their means.
yeah, I agree. Julius Randle has one more year, I think. So if they don't choose to re-sign him, then I think they'll have enough cap to kind of go out and get their preferred guy if they don't prefer to extend him long term. So we'll see. I mean, it's I would never leave $100+ million on the table, but maybe they know something I don't. But that's kind of insane right there. Moving on though, Team USA, uh, two dubs in the past what couple days, right? I think the first exhibition was I think it was either Friday or Saturday against the Canadians. Won pretty handily, and then today at noon they played the Australians. Game was closer than it probably should have been, but the U.S. pulled it out at the end because I think the cover was like 20 and a half. Canadians, not the Canadians, I'm sorry, the Australians did cover. Um, for me personally, the starting lineup has been the biggest issue. Joel Embiid just does for whatever reason. Well, I know what reasons, but he's just not clicking with the first unit. Lawrence, I don't know if you caught these games. What are your first thoughts? Two games in, exhibition games. These don't really count towards anything. But how does Team USA look 2 games in?
I think Team USA looks like a team that is has all the best players on it, and I'm not going to look at the expedition games too deeply because at the end of the day, they don't really care about the games, and the people they're playing don't particularly care too much about the games. It's all about making sure the team looks fluid. Whether or not it's being efficient when it's fluid is a different story. Their main goal is to make sure the team looks like it can compete against other countries at the level they need to. And honestly, if I'm the USA, the team's not flowing perfectly right now, but they're winning, which is a good sign. Um,
Yep.
but if you're Australia, I mean, honestly, if you're Australia, you're happy as hell because I mean, you were a major underdog, and whether it's the USA doesn't care enough because it's not real yet, or um, I mean, I guess they would care, but it's just one of those things. Like, how much stock are they putting into these games? In which how
Mhm.
much do they think it really matters if you're the USA?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. They're probably not putting too much stock into it. It's just more of hey, like let's just see how they're like testing lineups at this point, right? Like they're not too worried about if they lose or how close they're winning these games by. What's troubling me is these lineups. I think, like I said earlier, like Joel just doesn't fit the starting unit. Anthony Davis just plays better with the starting unit. Even the second unit with him and Bam. I mean, that front court in 2 games that just looked amazing, pretty elite defensively and offensively. Bam kind of playmaking off of AD, and then AD just grabbing all the offensive rebounds and just putting the ball back in the hoop. So I like it from that standpoint. The starting unit, I'm assuming, will be better once Kevin Durant finally gets a chance to play. I think he's like has some type of injury, so he hasn't played the first 2 games. But once he plays, the starting unit will look a little bit better.
Well, he's been
But I
hanging out on
think
Impulsive.
what's that?
He's been hanging out on the set of Impulsive.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I think that was taped after WrestleMania, so that was taped a while ago. But um, where was that? What was I saying? But anyway, yeah, when KD comes back, it'll look a little bit fluid. I think ideally you probably have to start Ant Man, probably just for defense and just like you need like a Energizer Bunny. You need someone young to kind of like get them pushing up and down the floor because that starting unit's older. To be honest, they weren't really moving. Like setting screen back doors, just all overall moving and pushing the ball up the court. They really weren't trying to do that. Especially with Joel, he's just slugging behind every play. So they're gonna need some more youth in that starting lineup. Am I worried? No, but I don't know. Maybe the Serbians. We'll see. They play Serbia Wednesday. We'll see how that starting unit looks against the Joker and his all his buddies in Serbia. But that's my one concern. They might if they don't get that lineup, the way they want it, they might lose one game. But I still expect them to win. But any other thoughts? I know the second unit has been looking the better of the 2 units with Halliburton kind of running the point. Like I said earlier, Bam and AD at the front court, and then Booker and I guess it's been between like Tatum and who else has been? Well, today it was Drew coming in the second unit. So, what are your thoughts about the second unit? 'Cause no one really needs to play big minutes because the second unit's been killing it. I don't know if you what are your thoughts on the second unit?
Well, I haven't watched much of the um, expedition games. I've only seen like the breakdown in points,
Mhm.
the box score, anyways, is what you should call it. So I mean, honestly, I didn't even know who was starting, who wasn't starting based on the box score, because you can't really tell it based on that, because everyone's playing the same amount of minutes. Which, if
Mhm.
I'm talking about a USA team, I expect that. I mean, the second team is honestly just as good as the A team. Honestly, if you had to really talk about it, the A team is a little old and ancient. They've been doing it for a while, but they're a little up there in years. So I could easily see how the B team would be more cohesive of a unit because they have the ability to change within themselves a little bit better.
Yes, and some of those players on the second unit, they played together in Tokyo. Bam, I think Drew was on the Tokyo team. Booker was on the Tokyo team. And all of them started in Tokyo. So I mean, they got some cohesiveness. They got some familiarity playing with each other. So that's why they kind of looked a little bit. Well, not a little bit. They looked a lot better, honestly. When they're in, they go on a big run. First unit comes back in. Lead starts to slip. Happened in both games so far. They just moving the ball better, pushing the pace a lot better. Um, and it's just, I think they're just more comfortable playing with each other. But you're right. They should be just as good as the first unit. It's the USA. We shouldn't put too much stock into it, but we do gotta point out weaknesses and criticize them. Criticize some of their weaknesses as well. No offense to Joel, but yeah, you just shouldn't be starting. Even Kerr said that he's going to think about pitting him on the bench, but that might piss him off, and he might run back to France next Olympics. So I don't know if he wants to do that. Him, Wemby, and Gobert, and who knows, maybe one of the like Sar or the kid that Atlanta drafted, the Zachary. I can't even pronounce his name, but if they turn out to be good in 4 years, man, that'll be a loaded France team. So maybe they don't want to piss him off.
It'll be a loaded France team, but it's not like Embiid will stay healthy. Oops, did I say that?
Controversial. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That's a 4 years from now problem. Let's head on to some NFL. I feel like we been talking about NFL and damn near since February, right? Or shoot, probably since the draft, which was April. ESPN's starting to put out their top 10 lists. So we'll go over a couple of these lists like we did last year. Today we're gonna pick quarterback because this is the one that came out today. Um, no surprise here. Mahomes is number one. Nothing to discuss. Claps. Back-to-back Super Bowl winner. Isn't he back-to-back MVPs as well? Super Bowl MVPs. Nothing to discuss here. Clear number one. Now today, a lot of people were kind of up in arms about Joe Burrow being two. Even though he's my guy, I don't see how he's not number two. I mean, when the guy's healthy, he's gone to at least the AFC Championship game. People want to argue Lamar Jackson. I get it. You know, two-time MVP, one-time unanimous. But the guy's the same number of playoff wins as Baker Mayfield, so I can't pin him above Joe B, bro. So Lawrence,
Yep.
what are your thoughts on Joe Burrow being number two? He was number two last year, so this is his second year in a row. Second best quarterback in the league, or nah? What are your thoughts?
Um, well, you're my buddy and all, so
Say
uh,
what you want. Say what you want. It's not
I
gonna hurt
mean,
my feelings.
I mean, he's like top five.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, if I was to build a roster right now, right, and I was like on NFL Ultimate Team, and I was given the ability
Madden
to
25.
draft. I was given the ability to draft second, and I had to pick a quarterback, and obviously Patrick Mahomes was taken first. I mean, in my heart, like who's the first quarterback I'm gonna take? It's probably none of the above. It's probably Josh Allen. Because I don't really have to worry about the injury bug. It hasn't happened yet. Um, I mean, half the time, the games that Josh Allen is losing, it's kind of questionable. You can really blame Josh Allen. Yeah, he does have those games where it's like, buddy, you played bad. And people have those games. But there's a lot of games where Josh Allen plays really well, and it's just some dumbass mistake that the team makes as a whole that kind of blows it, and it's almost always on either the special teams or the defensive side. Um, so if I was to go based on, who I would take second overall, it's probably Josh Allen. So that would mean that I would say Josh Allen's the second best quarterback. Just because I think that I have a lot of abilities to build my team around that kind of a player. Not saying he is the second best quarterback. I just think he allows a lot more. He can run the ball. He can throw deep balls. He can throw short balls. His weakness might be the medium range game, but he can do screens and options. You don't get that Lamar Jackson hindrance. No offense to him, but at the end of the day, if there's the option to run or throw, he's gonna run. He's not gonna throw.
Fair enough. I think Josh Allen's actually three. If you look at the physical traits, it's no doubt that Josh Allen should be two. But I think for me, the playoff blunders, and then Joe Burrow's beat him once in the playoffs on the road. And then even in the regular season, Joe's beat him. So I can't pit Joe beneath Josh Allen. I damn sure can put him above Lamar, even though Lamar has two MVPs and Josh and Joe don't have any. But uh, I agree with ESPN with Josh being three. I agree with you, Lawrence. A lot of the time, it's his team's fault. I mean, we can look back to last year. If the kicker makes the field goal, Mahomes not going to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just plain and simple. So, a lot of crazy little flaws like that have caused
I
the
mean,
Bills to be on the wrong side of the win, in the past couple of years.
in the year before that, it was 13 seconds. Like Josh Allen won the game. The game was won. You have 13
Mhm.
seconds. You just have to protect the end zone for 13 seconds, and their defense failed to do that. I mean, honestly, their inabilities to win in the playoffs, outside of last year, I think it was last year when they got beat by the Bengals, and yeah, Josh Allen had a bad game. That was fair. He did. But pretty much every other time when it was the Chiefs, Josh Allen took the lead with 13 seconds. All you had to do was defend it for 13 seconds. You failed to do that. You had Mahomes beaten. All you had to do was hit a field goal. It was not even a hard field goal. You lost that too. I mean, it's not Josh Allen here that's struggling. It's his team.
Yeah, team. You can blame coaching as well. Sean McDermott was kind of on the hot seat a little bit last year because they, just had a bad kind of middle of the season where bad stretch where they were kind of just losing games they should have been winning. So we'll see. I mean, they lost. He lost Diggs, lost his number one guy. We'll see how he adjusts. With not a definitive number one receiver, but he has two good tight ends. Maybe that's enough to kind of supplement for the meantime. But I'm okay with him being at three. And then we know Lamar's gonna be four. Um, Two MVPs, one unanimous. He won the past year. The best overall team. I think that the Ravens will put around Lamar last year. They won one playoff game, made it to the AFC Championship game, and could only put up 10 points. So yeah, Zay Flowers fumbled near the end zone. I get that. It's a rookie mistake. If he scores, it's a different story, right? I get all that, but uh, Lamar has had other chances to win more than two playoff games, and he just hasn't come through. So for me, I'm looking at regular season success and postseason success, and he just doesn't have enough postseason success to really. He can be a top five quarterback because of the accolades, but higher than the top three, I can't do that because all those guys have postseason success that you don't.
Well,
So
I think his undoing comes from his postseason inabilities, and I think
yeah,
his postseason inabilities are the fact that teams know that the only way Lamar Jackson beats me is if he runs the ball a bunch of times. So let's just stop the run and let's make him throw the ball. And yeah, he makes some good throws, but you're an NFL quarterback. You're supposed to make some good throws. It's just the big key important throws. I don't even know if I can blame it all on him. Half the time, it's just his guys don't catch the damn ball. They look like the balls are put in good places. They just don't catch it. Now, is that on him? Maybe he's putting some kind of weird spiral on it where it's hard to catch. I don't know. I'm not the one on the field catching it. That's not me.
hmm
But what I can see is they mess up on that front as well.
yeah, I get it. Sometimes the receivers haven't been the best. But last year he had Zay, he had Odell. Mark Andrews was, hurt for a little bit, but they still had the backup tight end who I think he's still pretty damn good. Isn't like Isaiah or something?
Isaiah
That that
Likely.
kid that kid came on pretty strong. And this year they got King Henry, so the running game's gonna be even better. And I think overall he just have had better teams than we can say Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. I mean, honestly, the Ravens have been consistently good. So the inability to win more than two playoff games, I feel like is shocking for a guy that's a two-time MVP. So I'm okay with four, five. I get it. Probably the Rams overachieved. We can say they overachieved last year, but being five, I think that's a little too much for Matthew Stafford. What do you think, Lawrence?
At his age, yeah, I think that's a little too much for Stafford. I think if you did it 3 years ago, I think that's pretty fair for Stafford. but we're talking about a 37-year-old Stafford, 38-year-old Stafford.
36.
Oh, well, he's probably gonna be 37 by the NFL season.
Yep.
So he's old. I mean, I think that people always look at quarterbacks in their youth, and they think that they're always going to be in that youth. I mean, what was it? The last season of his career, Tom Brady. People were still ranking Tom Brady as a top 10 quarterback. And it's just like, I get it. Tom Brady is the goat, but he's not a top 10 quarterback his final season. He just simply wasn't.
Yeah, I agree. This is probably just more of showing love. Like, yeah, you won a Super Bowl like 2 years ago. Yeah, you probably overachieved last season, so we're gonna go ahead and give you top five. But wait, is Matthew Stafford a top five quarterback currently? No.
Nah.
Um, no. No, not no matter how good Sean McVay, schemes for you, you're not a top five quarterback.
Yeah, but even if, I mean, no offense, but if you put Kirk Cousins on Kyle Shanahan's team, is Kirk Cousins not doing the exact same that he just did 3 years ago, 2 years ago? Because in my opinion, I think Kirk Cousins could do the exact same thing. I mean, that's kind of all Matthew Stafford did at the Lions was be a gunslinger. He gets a good coach to give him some good weapons and give him some good, I guess, plays and important moves throughout a game. Well, who's to say Kirk Cousins wouldn't win all those games as well? I mean, I think it could. I mean, Kirk Cousins did pretty good with Kyle Shanahan in Washington, so he got paid big bucks.
Yeah, that's a good comparison right there. I think you're onto some you'll probably see similar results. This guy last year he damn sure wasn't a top six quarterback. And now with what Keenan Allen gone, his best receiver is probably what Jordan Palmer. Uh, yeah,
Listen,
I feel bad for Herbert because he's gonna have a down year, but
I don't get the
I,
Herbert hype, but I also don't understand the Herbert slander from others who say he's absolute trash. I think there's no wrong in saying that Herbert is a probably and he's an above average quarterback, but is he extremely
Mhm,
above
mhm.
average? No. But I mean honestly he's never really been given that many weapons besides Keenan. He's been given Mike Williams and Mike Williams last 3 games.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't get the like you said trash talking him because he's definitely better than average. He just reminds me of like a Dak Prescott where he'll get you 10 wins, but it's either got to get you over the hump. So far, I would say no, but he's still young. He's only been in the league what 4 or 5 years, so I'm not gonna be too harsh on the kid. But at six, I think that's a little high. Probably would have him towards the back end. Seven, C.J. Stroud, rookie season, phenomenal. Guys, team to the playoffs, won a playoff game, absolutely fantastic. And this year his team got better. He got Diggs this year. He got Joe Mixon as a running back. So the sky's only up from here. Are you okay with Stroud at seven?
I'm honestly I am, but I'm not. I mean, it was a really good season. It was a really good first season.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I can't remember how hyped everyone was after the season that Andrew Luck had to be like the original number one rookie, um, or the number one, or just a really good quarterback. Like I think, what was it? He broke a
I
bunch
think
of
RG.
records. Well, I know Cam Newton came in and broke a bunch of records,
Yeah,
and then immediately after Andrew Luck came in and broke a bunch of the same records. Um, but I mean, if I'm having to rate, I mean, he's probably top 10. Which, if you're putting him at 7, I think it's fine. I think there still
yeah,
could be a few quarterbacks ahead of him. I mean, still to this day, I still think, um, no, I think Jalen Hurts is probably better than him. Um, but I just think Jalen Hurts is better than him for the system that he plays in, because Jalen Hurts' system is just built much better for Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts is in a really good system for himself.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts went to a Super Bowl. Has majorly improved over from his rookie season until up until now. So CJ Stroud's definitely a top 10 quarterback. I know there's a lot of hype. That's probably why he's so high up compared to some of his contemporaries who probably should be in the spot. But I'm not mad that he's top 10 at 7. I think it's probably, I'm not going to say a reach, but probably maybe a little too high. But I'm not that mad at it. Aaron Rodgers, number 8. The guy did what? He only took a couple snaps last year, but he's
Well,
still at number 8.
he took four. He took four snaps.
Are
No,
you okay with the old man being the 8th best quarterback?
no,
uh, is he even top 10 anymore? Is like
no.
what's the deal with Aaron Rodgers?
Uh,
A lot of these analysts and media guys have the Jets so high in the sky right now. Is it
well,
time to bring them back to reality?
well, their strength of schedule is really easy, so they have that going for them. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say like he's good. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be what Brady was in his last seasons. But like I said before, I don't think Brady was top 10 in his last season. I think it's hard to say a guy who was only able to play four snaps, and they do say the reason why he got injured so quick is because of that field, and he's gonna have to play on that same field again because that's where their home is.
Yeah.
And everyone talks about those kind of turfs, and he played on grass his whole career, and now he's playing on turf majority. You know, I can see easily that Aaron Rodgers is gonna have a above average season in terms of the
Uh-huh.
team. But if we're talking about um, Aaron Rodgers doing super good, I mean, I don't really see that one. I think Brees Hall is going to have um, have a much better season he did last year with that new offensive line, so he can actually get yards.
Yeah, the team around him is good. It's gotten better from last year, but top 10 quarterback, like really, this is just this is more like nostalgia. Like, man, Aaron Rodgers was so good pre-injury. He's hyping it up like he's back to his normal self. No, he's not. Come on, guys. Let's be honest. We just a lot of these dudes out here just want to see Aaron Rodgers win another one, and unfortunately, it's not going to happen. All right, we just gotta come back to reality. It's not going to happen. All right. Jared Goff 9. I think it's a little disservice because Jared Goff did damn well last year. Um, if I was making this list, I'd probably swap him with CJ Stroud at the very least. Honestly, probably swap him with Herbert because he just flat out played better than Herbert last year. Went to the NFC Championship game, lost because his team let the 49ers come back. Um, yeah, that's all I got to say about him. Lawrence, what are your thoughts about Jared Goff?
You know,
His
honestly,
redemption arc.
honestly, Jared Goff could easily be put in the top five from last season.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm saying at least he's at least top 6. But if you want to put him where Stafford is, I feel like that's fair too.
I think it's fair to put him where Stafford is. I don't think Stafford is of Stafford of old.
No, no qualms with me on that one right there. Um, Dak Prescott at number 10. I feel like this is a fair spot for him. Dak is good enough to get you 10 wins. Yes, Dak to do more than that. That's where it becomes a problem. Um,
You say
he
Dak
has
Prescott is good there, but I still have the inability to understand how Dak Prescott would be above Jalen Hurts when Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback in his own division.
I'm okay with him being at 10 because they won the division last year, right? So I'm okay with that. But Jalen Hurts should honestly be in the top 10 anyway. But since it's ESPN's list, I'm okay with them pitting Dak before or ahead of Jalen. But if it was my list, I would have Jalen probably ahead of Dak. But Dak would still be at 10. Any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I think we've already said there are some guys up there who we had questions about being up there. One Aaron Rodgers is for wish one. I feel like you can just take him off top 10 completely. I think CJ Stroud, you can keep her around the 10 position, maybe not so high. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm a Jalen Hurts fan or anything, but it's just really hard to like not put him in the top 10 when pretty much every season he's just gotten better and he's never really gotten worse.
Yeah. Uh, the team had a down year for whatever reason. They kind of flamed out near the end. And he was hurt for the last half of the season, so I'm not going to give him too much blame or too much bad press. But definitely is a shame that ESPN didn't put him in the top 10. Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy's borderline because if Jalen Hurts isn't in there, then Brock Purdy probably shouldn't be in there. So I'm okay with this. Jordan Love, I need to see another year. But he did play well in the latter half of the year. To begin the year, he caught fire a little bit, but then kind of got into a slump. So, uh, can't have him in there. Tua, Tua's in here because the guy hasn't got a contract, and Miami knows what we know. Tua's probably not the guy, but there's probably not another guy that can do as well as Tua. So they're kind of in a back and forth right now. And two other guys, Kirk, who was hurt back half of the year, and Trevor Lawrence, who just became the highest paid quarterback. Him and Joe are. And he missed the playoffs last year. What about the honorable mentions? Do you have any qualms here?
No, I don't have any qualms. The honorable mentions are the people we think they are. I'm just really curious where my boy Bryce Young is. I think he's probably the best quarterback in the NFL. Am I right?
Uh, Maybe in a couple years.
What do you mean? Like,
Uh,
what is this slander? What is this Bryce Young slander, my boy?
he was just like another kid in Chicago who was running for his life every play. So if you're running for your life every play, you damn sure shouldn't be in the top 10. So maybe he's in the top 10 of yards ran on the field, but that's about it. uh, Sorry. It's okay. You'll be better this year. You'll be better. It's okay. It's okay. Well, that's it for top 10 quarterbacks. They have some other position groups out right now. We'll talk about them sometime next episode. They got running backs, D tackles, edge rusher, safety, tight ends. So yeah, just like last year, we'll just commentate on these lists as they come out, and then we'll go through probably two or three next episode. Lawrence, anything before we go? Anything you want to touch up on? UFC Fight Night was this weekend. Wimbledon was this weekend. A lot of sports things going on. The Euro Cup final, the Copa America final. Anything you want to touch on?
Um, I mean, I did point out that Spain was going to win it from the beginning. I want to point that one out. Made some good money on that one. Was rooting against Argentina, but that game was kind of hard to watch based on the crowd. And UFC, I'm just waiting for UFC 304 at this point. I'm waiting for the next big one.
304s and is that the Sphere? Is that the one in the Sphere?
No, no, that's like 307.
No. Okay. Who's on the uh who's on the card for 304?
I have no idea. I haven't looked that deep into UFC. I've taken a little hiatus from UFC. They had a weekend where they didn't fight, and then this last card wasn't that amazing. Just taking
It honestly
this.
wasn't, but it was a pretty long card. 'Cause I think it started at 7 and then ended till 1. Because yeah, I stayed up and watched the whole thing. Let's see, 304. Edwards versus Muhammad 2. We're in England, July 27th. So it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from Friday. 2 weeks from Saturday.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Interesting. Interesting. Not bad. Not a bad card. Not a bad card at all. Saturday's fight. There was one good fight. I forgot the guy's name, but I'm glad that the ref stopped the fight because the guy's literally his eyelash was coming off, bro. It was still disgusting. Jesus
Duvalier versus
Christ.
Silva or Dober.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great fight of the night, but the guy, like, they should have stopped the fight at the end of the second round because his eyelash was coming off. Like, that's just insane. Blood was just coming out everywhere. It was disgusting. I wanted to throw up, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty damn bad. Uh, but that's all I got. Team USA plays on Wednesday. I think they have two. They might have like one or two more exhibition games after that. Um, but other than that, that's all I got. MTL Sports Podcast, episode 104. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next episode. And with that, we're out.